First and foremost, I would like to thank the committee and everyone else who nominated me to speak here today. I never expected to receive such an honor, and I am nothing if not grateful for this opportunity to share my purpose. Today, I would like to discuss the major events within my life that helped define the person I am today, and how these events have resulted in what has now forged my career and life goals. First, I would like to discuss my struggles in middle school, and then my struggles in high school. Middle school was a tough time for me. The transition was not very kind, and I wasn't used to having to actually study for exams and quizzes. I remember rushing home and playing games, and reading books, and playing with my dog. I would place my backpack aside and just go mess around while my math practice exam would go unfilled. And yes, my report card came in, and I never saw that many F's in my entire life, except in the cartoons. I had a 1.5 GPA, and it was just ridiculous. It was barely the GPA required to advance to the 8th grade, and when my mom saw it, she was furious, angry. And my mom, she got angry over anything. If I left a pencil at home or a bottle, I would get the yelling of a lifetime. But this time, it was different. She wasn't angry, she was more disappointed. Now I know the phrase, I'm not mad, I'm disappointed. I used to joke about it a lot, but when it came time for me to actually hear those words from my mom, it devastated me. I felt ashamed, and I couldn't eat for a while. Things stopped being enjoyable. I became really depressed. I started to regret all those times I messed around playing games and rushing home instead of enjoying my time spent at school. I regretted not paying attention to my teachers and not listening to the words of wisdom they decided to give me. From that point on, I started to change. I vowed to study my hardest and to try my utmost best to pass the CSTs, which at the time were the standardized testings that placed us into advanced classes in middle school. My GPA was over, so I decided to do the next best thing, to prove myself next year. Next year, I had a 3.9 GPA and was placed in advanced classes. And when my report card came home, I was hesitant upon opening it, but upon seeing the results, I've never been more proud. It was perhaps the single most proud moment I had in my entire life when I showed my mom, and she said she was proud of me. I felt pride in who I was and what I did, and it was here that I started realizing that my purpose, a big part of it, was diligence, a skill that would serve me in my life and career goals. Moving on to high school, I think I did rather well. Initially, I was earning A's consistently and enjoying the new friends I made, but the classes were much more difficult, as coming from a dual enrollment program, a program where students were required to take both high school and college courses, I didn't get that much sleep. I was really excited. I thought, hey, I'm earning an associate degree. I didn't know what that meant, but I got it anyway. I don't know what it means still, but I have it. But in retrospect, coming home at around 6 o'clock every day and waking up at 5 a.m. every day does not open much room for sleep or anything in general. I came home, studied, worked on projects, did homework, made study guides, played maybe too many games here and there, but in general, I just didn't get enough. Lunch break was used for studying, free periods were used for times with friends, and eventually, of course, I started breaking down. I received the first C I had ever saw since 7th grade, and I was terrified of showing my mom. I mustered up all my courage, looked her in the eye and said, "Mom, it happened again." And she looked at me and said, "It's fine." When she said it was fine, I was dumbstruck. Again, I couldn't speak, I was shocked that I was dreaming. But then I asked, "Why is it fine?" And she said, "It's because you tried your best." She told me she was worried seeing me coming home all tired, never getting enough sleep, and said that my grades weren't as important as her son. And she told me she loved me and that she wanted and that she wanted just for me to try my best, and she'd be satisfied wherever I brought her. That was the first night in months that I received a full night's sleep, happy and content, and the first time in a while. That night, I realized my purpose, to be diligent and work hard enough to let both myself and those I care about lead a happy life. After that night, I began to take steps towards this purpose. I started managing my time better. I was dedicating more time towards myself and those I care about rather than memorizing Hamlet or Huckleberry Finn or the quadratic formula, all of those things. Instead of playing games, I started volunteering at several organizations such as the Delta College San Joaquin Delta College Child Development Center. I started volunteering as a guide at charity events, and my favorite, I started taking care of cats and dogs at a local animal shelter. As I began to search for more opportunities to better myself and my community, I came across the Community Involvement Program here at University of the Pacific. I was really nervous when applying, as being a first-generation college student and an only child, everything was new to me. My mom was a single parent, so she didn't really have anyone else to ask, aside from my aunt, who was also a single parent. So we didn't know what we were doing. And when I found out we had to be interviewed for CIP, I think that was the first time I ever wore a suit to an interview. And that was the first time my mom told me you actually had to wear a suit to an interview. When I got into CIP, I was never more surprised in my entire life. I never realized how much people could actually care about those around them, how much they could care about their community and the place they call home. From dressing up as superheroes and reading to kids at Port to preparing the next generation of leaders at Plus and Block conferences, I am proud to have been accepted into such a dedicated and loving program. The love and compassion my mother showed me throughout my entire life inspired me to go into the medical field because I wanted to share that love and compassion through helping save the lives of others. So for my senior job shadow, instead of job shadowing a doctor, I job shadowed a pharmacist. I chose a pharmacist because in school we learned all about, doctors save lives and learned how much money they made, but we never learned that much about pharmacists. That and I'm not really good with blood, so I didn't. So during the shadow, I realized a lot of things. One, pharmacists actually do care. He owned a private pharmacy, so he ran it, managed it, and everything. He knew all the names of all the patients, their ages, their dog names, the dog's kids' names. It was crazy. And then I realized that's what I wanted to do. He took the time out of his day to know all the stories of all his patients. And he knew what he did mattered, and he loved it. He even took the time to deliver medication to those too old to drive. He loved his patients, and they loved him. And that's why I wanted to be a pharmacist, to spread what I had to give and receive love back. My purpose in life is to lead a life that, although filled with hardship, will bring happiness to myself and those I care about. However, while writing the speech, I realized something. If there's any message I leave here with you all, it's this. The experiences you have in life don't define you, you define them. And so long as you keep this message within your heart, I guarantee that every single one of you will be able to not only know your purpose, but pursue it to your utmost best.